I'm Curtis Keliiaa, San Diego National Laboratories, Albuquerque, New Mexico. We're a federally funded research and development center, or a national laboratory. So I have the honor and pleasure to work with all kinds of experts. And I can see faces that are going to be experts in the future here. I expect a lot out of all of you. Because you're here, you're learning, you're listening to great things. And my lovely assistant, Tanya. A hand, please. So, I'm a Washoe tribal member. I'm a Mahiji. I'm also Cherokee, Osceola, and Native Hawaiian. Aloha. I lead a tribal cyber critical infrastructure effort with San Diego National Laboratories, where we work with tribal critical infrastructure stakeholders, literally north, south, east, west, so nationally. And every challenge is different. And what you guys are hearing right now is an example of the things that we as a national laboratory engage. So understand that this is really important, and it's a gateway, a doorway to opportunity for you. Any cybersecurity people in here? Yay, there you go. I'm a cybersecurity guy. So I'm the guy that comes in and says, hey, wait, have you thought about risk? Have you thought about categorizing your information? What is the value to you, to your community? What's the value to somebody else? What's the value to a malicious actor? So there's all kinds of threats out there. That's a whole other discussion. But if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me, either here or otherwise. So what we do, so there's 4 sovereigns. There's international, nation state, right? China, Russia, France, I mean everybody. There's federal, there's state, and there's American Indian tribal governments that are sovereign governments. So tribes have critical infrastructure needs, water, I mean you're hearing it here today, power, emergency services, all of it. So, and they have a single point of authority. Each tribe has a single point of authority for their critical infrastructure needs. And the public works professionals you're hearing from are providing that tribal public service, that tribal critical infrastructure service. Water's key. So we address tribal and national security challenges. So cybersecurity, physical security, resilience. I will say that I introduced the term operational technology. So what we're talking about with water infrastructure, that's operational technology. If you have an energy delivery system, that's operational technology, and it's long been separate from information technology. But now operational technology and information technology are converging. That's what we're talking about. How do we monitor it? How do we add some sense to it? How do we add computational power? How do we add sensors to the infrastructure when we know when there's a leak? Oh, and I liked the access point needing more IP addresses. We're going to talk about a whole new address, internet protocol. That's a whole different set. It's a functionally different, and you, each one of you, and whatever you do, need to be aware that we're really dealing with a new technological paradigm. And the key gap is knowledge, skills, and abilities. So just the fact that you're aware that there's old and there's new, and old won't work for all this new stuff, take that into your challenges and understand that there's a new foundation that you need to consider in addition to cybersecurity. So mobile networks, fixed and mobile. When I think mobile networks, I think space, air, land, sea, and even subterranean. For mining, for example, for underground infrastructure is another example. If If you have a crawler going through the pipeline, that's a subterranean mobile network. If it's connected and sending data back via the internet or even a control system, you guys have already been introduced to SCADA, Supervisory Control and Data Access. That's the back-end system that's collecting the data, right? So, what are our challenges? Vast expansion, all right? Who's heard of the IoT? Okay, good. Most everybody. Internet of Things. I think that's a really vague description. It doesn't say much. To me, it's machine-to-machine communications. Now, I have a couple things here. Tanya, can you bring that brown folder? Just as you were setting it down. So, I've been asking people, how many devices do you have with you? So I'm traveling. I've got my personal cell phone, smartphone, excuse me. Let's see. I've got my work cell phone, right? Tanya, we flip the laptop out of there, or just, see, I have a laptop too. And because I'm a cyber guy, I can bring stuff like this. And I do. I actually, on my downtime, I'm playing with stuff. So this is a storm forensics kit. You plug it into your laptop, and you mentioned the term incident response. You have to do that for cybersecurity too. So once you respond to an incident, what do you get? Well, you find out what's going on, you get some evidence, and you have to dig a little deeper, the forensics aspect of it. And this is a small computer, very cheap, a Raspberry Pi. Some of you might know about that, right? In your labs, a lot of schools have it. And I love this little, I've heard of floppy drives, but a floppy keyboard. So, thank you. So, I'm traveling around with all this connectivity, and I'm going into a hotel that I don't know who's behind the wire. Do you? So, next slide, please. So we have a couple of ideas here, standards-based innovation enablers. And this is important because these are standards that are well established. The Internet Engineering Task Force, IETF, is responsible for designing all kinds of things, but particularly the Internet protocol. IPv4, you guys know those addresses, 10.10. Everybody's used to seeing those. Well, for North America, there's a regional internet registry, ARIN, and there's links here too that can take you to go see these things. September 24th, 2015, they exhausted all the new addresses. They exhausted their free pool of IP addresses. And it's not that drives the adoption of IPv6, IP version 6, Internet Protocol version 6, which has a tremendous address space beyond IPv4. IPv4 was 4.3 billion. I saw an article that said 4 billion cameras manufactured every year. Let's say just half of those get connected on the internet. Just the cameras. I got 2 cameras, one on this pocket, one on this pocket right now. That's 2 billion, that's half the last of the 40-year internet. But what's really driving that adoption is growth. And it's what you guys are hearing about here today. It's the Internet of Things, machine-to-machine communications. It's mobility. I haven't asked this question before this way, so this is it. Who doesn't have a smartphone? See what I'm talking about? Proliferation of technology, mobile, RF, radio frequency, and IP. So that leads us to the Internet Engineering Task Force. So that's IEEE. They have 5G, a standard for 5G, not 3G, not 4G, 5G that's been ratified, and it's a broadband access. So now, in rural communities, you can get broadband access wirelessly. The broadband access, there's 2 definitions I've heard, by the way. One is 25 megabit down, 3 megabit up. And then there's 100 megabit down, 25 megabit up. So it depends on where you're at and what kind of access you have. But with broadband access expanding throughout the world to rural areas, this huge explosion of connectivity. And so RF, like 5G and Internet Protocol version 6, actually enable that growth. So when you think about your solutions, I want you to think, oh, there's a new address protocol I need to think about. And if you're developers, Aaron has a software development guide. That's the Regional Internet Registry. ARIN. .org, you go there. It's actually July 2015. And for you developers, take a look at it, because there's different address families. And are we waiting for all this to get deployed? No. Every device I just showed you has both IPv6 and IPv4, so you gotta deal with both. So as a developer, different address family as you're coding, and there's specific guidelines. No matter what language you prefer, no matter what platform you're using, they're both embedded throughout every platform. Mac, Microsoft, Verizon. So with that, there's the OT-IT. What I want to impress upon you more than anything, this is the key point. We have all this old stuff, right? And we have new stuff. The old stuff's exhausted, and that's been my whole career, by the way. I'm pushing 40 years of doing this, and I'm a cybersecurity guy. The key point is, with the new technologies, in all of our communities, whether we're utilities or in industrial control systems or critical infrastructure sectors, we have the opportunity to design in, I call it a triplet, right? Cybersecurity, physical security, and resilience. Why physical security? Anybody got a guess? All these cameras are connected, that's surveillance. All these sensors that might, physical access. Oh, a door has been breached. That's physical security. But now it's IT and OT integrating. And so it's two disciplines. It's these gentlemen and this young lady's discipline of operational technology, and it's my discipline of cybersecurity and IT and communications, smashing together, literally, faster than we can blink. What do you guys think about that? What do you think about that? Well, so there's a huge challenge for you guys, but there's huge opportunity. Challenge is opportunity. How am I doing on time? So, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. I'm not going to go very fast if I mumble like that. So, cybersecurity has three principal tenets, right? Confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Confidentiality is encryption. Availability is you have internet access. Integrity is that the data is correct when you get it, right? So I introduce something here. It's ACIA. It's the same elements. So operational technology, water, we'll use that example. You have to have it first. Availability is more important. And then integrity. So it's got to be potable, right? It's got to be drinkable, usable. That's integrity when we're talking water. So confidentiality, maybe that's the SCADA control system that you're using to manage your water infrastructure. You need confidentiality there so you can protect it. So AICIA is just three things. It's confidentiality, integrity, and availability, but when we're talking operational technology, it's turned around so that you have availability, integrity, and then confidentiality fits both models, operational technology. And does that make sense? Good? I see some good nods out there. So this is the critical infrastructure sectors. And here I just have IT right here, communications up here. The innovation that's happening that we're talking about here impacts all the other critical infrastructure sectors. Energy, water, emergency services, emergency response, emergency communications, finance. So that's what I mean by the opportunity. If you go learn a little bit of knowledge and understand this new set of technologies, you're at the advantage. You already have what you need to know. But it's a fundamental, it's like the water infrastructure. This is like the plumbing of the internet. This is like the plumbing of SCADA systems, industrial control systems. Next up, I better do this. Okay, so this will be quick. Workforce call to action. This is actually a tribal workforce call to action. Why? Because knowledge, skills, and abilities, that's the biggest gap. The standards are all there. It's already embedded, RF and IP, in all of your systems. Understanding how to utilize it as a developer, understanding how to architect, secure, configure, deploy it. If you're a cybersecurity person or an IT designer or communications engineer, whatever path each of you choose, and it also includes paths into water infrastructure, energy infrastructure. Whatever your passion is, wherever you go, what opportunity comes to you is now we're talking so much digital dependence. Understand we're on a new field of play with new technologies. Don't let it scare you. It scares a lot of people my age. They don't want to learn anything new. I'm serious. There's not enough knowledge out there to really get this, take the bull by the horns. Risk management, I'm a risk manager, so we're talking that ACI model. CPR design, it's not cardiopulmonary resuscitation. What is it? It's designing in cybersecurity, physical security, and resilience. I want you to take that and think about, well, I'm doing this design challenge. Have I thought about cybersecurity, physical security, and resilience? Just think about that. And hopefully it has an impact on your proposals. Expanding cyber ecosystem, embedded technologies. Just water is $1 trillion market. Just energy is $1 trillion market. Just transportation. We're talking worldwide transportation that needs you guys designing new solutions. How's that for exciting? So, leap ahead of legacy, guess what? 40 years of internet development, cities, metropolitan statistical areas, that's where the money, customers work. That's where internet service providers built out. Now we got the broadband expansion across worldwide availability, rural communities. It's especially important in Indian country. That's why I get a chance to do what I do. Broadband and secure deployment of critical infrastructure services. So qualified workforce, that's the knowledge, skills, and abilities we need. Standards ready, it's all there. I will say, this says ICS and IT. It's kind of squirrely looking when it comes up. But 1969 to 2069, that's 100 years. But how long is that really? I started my career here in 1979. We're talking today. That's my career. You guys are going to expand into this space. All this stuff is going to proliferate. And please, please, please think about designing in cybersecurity and resilience. So sec choices, this is a list, and I'll go quick, I'm probably short on time here. The security triplet, CPR, right? The E, extreme expansion, broadband, device connectivity, Internet of Things, your refrigerator, but more importantly, machine-to-machine communications with critical infrastructure and industrial control systems. So communications, broadband, RF, IP, all the connectivity. So this is definitely an RF IP connected device. We probably have more of these in the room than there are us. I have two. So changing cyber paradigm. I was talking to a gentleman over here about high performance computing. We're moving to quantum computing. We're moving to exascale. If you want to know what that is, look it up. But exascale is 1 trillion floating point operations per second. This is what we do at a national laboratory at the universities and research. So mobile networks, space, air, land, sea. Most important part is the human element. Why? We had a conversation earlier today, and the question was, what's the weakest part of the system? It's the human. And who has that human error? Yes, sir. I don't know if you have a mic, but.
No, like humans have a weak spot of the security system because, like, you don't really, like, you can make it sound like Fort Knox. You have a secure way at the front door, just let everybody in, and with that security building, with that security building just made, really good for that.
Well, so that's a great question, and you nailed it, I think. What's the most important thing to protect? Whether it's building information, life safety information, financial, national, tribal information. The most important thing to protect, you have to protect infrastructure, you have to protect systems, you have to protect physical access. But the most important thing we protect in cybersecurity is information. So you have to know what's your categorize your information. Is it personally identifiable information? I won't go into all that because we're short on time. But understand that information is the most important thing to protect in a digital world. So operational technology, we talked about that. IT, mobile cloud. You guys are probably, you may be more aware than I am of all the innovation and change there. Virtual, software defined. We have software defined networks, software defined radio. Critical infrastructure, talked about that, ICS and SCADA, and an expanding cyber ecosystem. Cross-sector, multi-domain. Do you remember that slide that was critical infrastructure sectors? That's multi-domain, that's cross-sector. That's IT and communications impacting everything that the community needs. So, and we can't forget software security. Ooh, why did I save that for last? Because it's critical. Software security. Application security, AppSec. Is anybody looking at AppSec and learning how to code? Application security. Go back and ask why. So you can have static application security tests, dynamic, and if you're developing to containerization and cloud, things like that, you're probably looking at continuous monitoring and continuous improvement, if not deployment. Application security. If everything's getting software defined, it's not just the network you gotta secure. It's not just the physical security. You have to have application security. So, in closing, this is a monument in Tahlequah, Oklahoma, Town Square. Well, my mom's building them up, just outside of town there. In 1885, September of 1885, a group of Cherokees brought the first phone west of St. Louis into the Mississippi Valley. We're the same. We're bringing this internet connectivity. It's no different. And I'm very proud that my great-great-grandfather's name, Arn Wolf, is on that monument. Southwestern Bell put it up to honor the effort and the occasion. The first phone. So think of that circle and that timeline from 1969. Walk it back, 1885. 7 generations. 7 generations from my great-great-great-grandfather to my granddaughter and my grandson. We think native, we think 7 generations. Honor our ancestors. We walk into the future. 7 generations. It's not going to be that long. That 2069, you're going to see it. And with that, I'm going to close. Welcome any more questions. Mahalo. Amangui. Wado. Thank you very much.